Hi everyone. As many of you know, as many of you have come to visit and totally support Patrick and I, we have been working at a local community arts center called Fireseed Arts at the Saxonville Mills in Framingham. We've been in contact and semi on and off working with Fireseed since about a year ago in September, when we first hung work there for a pop-up art show for a hip-hop show. And we made friends with the guys from Art Au Pair there, and we worked on and off, like I said, with them until January, when Pat and I officially took over the backspace and partnered with the owner of Fireseed Arts. And we've been partnered up until super recently, when Fireseed has decided to turn back into a factory. So it was originally, you guys may know this, it's a license for manufacturing, that whole area, all those buildings there, and we were trying to do something really different there when it came to art and like letting other people in and whatnot. And the owner decided, the owner got an investor, so it'll be turning back into a factory. So Fireseed's not closing, it just has closed its doors to the public, and Patrick and I are the public. So we'll still be doing art with the community and whatnot, of course, doing our murals and our sculptures and whatnot. You'll still find us at Mystic Fitness and at Open Spirit, the library, you know, all the places that we're always at. So while we were at Fireseed, I thought it would be nice to just do a little rewind and kind of look at all the good times that we had at the space while we had it. So when we did end up getting that backspace, we ended up emptying it of all of the stuff that was in the back. I'll put some photos in here of what it looked like before we got there. Slightly, totally chaotic. So we fixed up the walls and the floors that had staples in them from like concerts, I don't even know. We painted the walls, just renovated the space, brought in some really nice shelving that we had donated to us from a store at the mall that was closing down. Got tons of amazing donations from you guys for art supplies and whatnot. And in that backspace, we started a figure drawing meetup back in October of last year. We met twice a month, except for the months that we were at our wedding. We were getting married, except for the month that we were in Japan, and that ended up growing to be sustainable. So we were at least breaking even with that, and we got to meet such amazing people between the models that are totally top-notch in this area, always on time, just super inspiring postures and poses and whatnot, and the other local artists that a lot of them had been looking for a space to practice drawing people, or people who had never figure drawn before but have a painting habit, were able to really come through and just draw with us without any strings attached or any expectation. We also helped Johabi and Art Au Pair run the open mic night, which ended up super blowing up. Johabi did an amazing job. He's a good friend of ours, and he ended up turning it into Rhythm with Reason to really showcase the local hip-hop artists and other musicians in this area, like young up-and-coming musicians in this area. We also held multiple free to the public full moon drum circles and new moon meditations that were just wonderful to share with the community. I've taught yoga classes and private watercolor lessons and other like little kid art classes in the back. Pat taught 2 big paint and sips for raising money for multiple great causes, between raising money for a local woman who's fighting cancer, and all of her amazing friends showed up to totally support her and her co-workers, and also another local woman who ran the marathon. She was fundraising money for that, super amazing. We also brought a lot of Fireseed's original instruments that already existed and were just sitting in the space. Pat and I were able to teach a bunch of drum circle workshops at the public schools. So we got to work with a lot of the bilingual high school kids. Pat would teach in English and I would translate to Spanish. And we had kids that spoke English and Spanish who otherwise wouldn't have been able to communicate with one another, communicating through rhythm, through music, through beat. That was beautiful, and we've done that all the way from the Framingham Public Schools through after-school programs all the way to Wellesley and other relocated teen programs, as well as some smaller children. So worked with a couple other local artists to make work specifically for this awesome new bar that opened up in Salem, Massachusetts. So we were able to hang work there, sell some work there. So when it comes to Fireseed, there's definitely been lots of really great times, and I think Pat and I also learned some good business lessons just from how things run. I think one of the things that we thought we could make happen that was kind of, I don't want to say delusional is kind of rough, but optimistic, a little more optimistic than realistic, is that we thought we'd be able to turn that backspace into a workable space for multiple artists. Whereas the artists really in our area, everyone's kind of interested in doing their own thing and just working solo. So they want their own space that they don't have to share. Pat and I were really looking for other people who were interested in collaborating in larger scale projects, and there just really aren't those kinds of people in this area, unfortunately. And the people who are into collaborative art are already part of groups like Fractal Tribe or Camp Lamp. They're already part of a group or a club. I think Pat and I, you know, since we're not from this area, like we're both New York kids, we kind of missed out on that, or I guess we could always, I don't know, integrate into that. The point is we thought we'd be able to make that sort of community in that backspace, and it just really kind of, it didn't blow up in our faces, it just kind of withered away, and it just ended up being me and him in this space that's like way bigger than we needed, or way bigger, it just wasn't sustainable. But it's all right, and you know, what was will never be again. So next time, forward and onward to other things. As for my watercolor private lessons, still going to be running them out of my own home studio here in this space, because they're mostly one-on-one, so I'm not going to be able to do my group lessons anymore with multiple kids. I just don't have the space in my little apartment right now. Figure drawing is canceled, unfortunately. I also don't have enough space we don't have enough space to run it out of our apartment, but there are lots of other figure drawings in the area, so I'm gonna just like reach out to my friends who were figure drawing with me and see if we all want to like carpool and just like blow up other people's spaces and, you know, show up as a Framingham crew. So I think that would be really fun, and honestly it's going to cost me less money to drop into these other figure drawings than paying the model out of pocket every single week, which would happen a lot. As for the runway show, the Sustainability with Style show that you've hopefully heard a lot about, that is not canceled. We are just moving the location from Fireseed, that will be filled with machinery and whatnot at the time. We will be moving it to Open Spirit Center. It's literally down, it is walking distance from Fireseed. It's between the Stapleton schools and Edwards Church. So it's a space that Pat and I had an art show at last year. The people are so amazing, and they already have a community garden there, permaculture forest, a labyrinth. Like, they're totally our kinds of people. So we're gonna do our movie showing and our double fashion show runway sustainability with style event there. So it's not canceled, it's just moved a couple blocks away. We're still gonna totally rock it. It's gonna be amazing. And like I said, Pat and I are still around. We'll see you guys around. We'll be at all the events that, you know, that are coming up. So I look forward to seeing everybody around, and okay, that's it.